my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Friday Challenge. And the Friday Challenge is where I get you to look through your long boxes and find cool comics based on a theme. And this week's theme is a little special because it is for Canada Day, and I'm Canadian. So Canada Day is July 1st, and it celebrates the birthday of this great nation, which happened in 1867. And I'm going to showcase for Canada Day Canadian artists. Now, I couldn't find one artist that I really did want to include on this list, which was Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire is a great Canadian artist. He did the comic series Sweet Tooth, which I'm still looking for. I don't know where I put it in my long boxes, so it's in there somewhere. I just didn't label it, so I'm looking for it. But with that aside, let's look at this top 10 list. Really great artists. So first artist is Dave Sims, and this is Cerebus number 161. Cerebus is an artwork. This is not obviously an artwork, but it is a Dave Sims cover. Number 9 on my list is another artist, and I actually met this artist recently, and I got him to sign a bunch of books. And I wish I could have found this book when I went to get it signed. This is Chip Zdarsky, and this is Public Domain. It's a recent comic series that he came out with, and just a kind of a cool one. I would have liked to have gotten him to sign this copy, but yeah. So Chip Zdarsky and Public Domain, number 1. Okay, next one is a very famous artist. I imagine most Americans don't realize that he's Canadian, but he is. And that makes this doubly cool because it's not only a major famous artist, but he also a very famous Canadian character. Well, a character that was created by an American. Created by a Canadian, but I think it's actually in the story he's American, but it's Spawn 1. The artist is Todd McFarlane. Really great artist, well known in probably I think he's actually the richest of all the comic artists, and he's Canadian, so that I think he's a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan too. So this is Spawn number 1. You can tell I bought this I haven't rebagged or boarded this since I bought it back in the 90s. I bought this the week after it came out, so I missed the day that the day that it came out. So I got kind of messed over because back then, if a comic was considered hot, even though they massively printed Spawn number 1, they would just jack up the price. So I paid $10. Oh my goodness, I was like, $10, that's a lot of money. But they're like, it's Spawn number 1. It's going to be, your children are going to retire on it. So I paid $10 for this book. I was like, okay, I guess I have to pay. So I probably could now get the same copy for about $10. So sad, but true. So Todd McFarlane and Spawn. That's Spawn number 1. Another really great artist, and I didn't realize that this artist was Canadian, is Win Mortimer. And Win Mortimer is famous for his work on Batman. He actually was involved with creation of not only Martian Manhunter, which is this is the first appearance of Martian Manhunter, but he was also involved with Bat Hound, Ace the Bat Hound. So kind of an extra little bonus there. Just another great Canadian artist. And this is Detective Comics 225. First appearance of Martian Manhunter, and the cover art was done by Win Mortimer. So just a really great one. Another this artist really goes into his Canadian heritage. If you ever watch the movie that his comic is based on, or his that's based on his comic, it is just so filled with Canadiana. It's amazing. It is Scott Pilgrim. Really great movie. I love. It's one of my favorite movies actually. Just a fun, silly movie, and lots of Canadiana in it. And the artist is Brian Lee O'Malley. And just a, it's a fun. He tried to make it like sort of manga style. And if you look, and I'll show you an example of this is like an iconic, like anyone that's Canadian or at least from the Toronto area will know this image. This is Honest Ed's, and sadly, like years later, this Honest Ed's went out of business. The owner died, Ed Mirvish. And they had this massive sign that's just like, it was a very iconic sign. It was all lit up, and you could go to Honest Ed's, and it was just a really cool store. Like, it was like really, really cheap to buy things. You could buy, it was like kind of like a dollar store at the time. And it was just the Ed Mirvish. He was very wealthy. He even had like his own theater and everything. But every Thanksgiving, he would give out turkeys for free. He would give, you could go there and get a free turkey. And he would do that mainly for the poor. But I know people that went there and got turkeys. But, really cool theater and store, I should say, for the image. But that's the kind of iconic stuff that Scott Pilgrim had in the movie and in the comics. And it's just really great series, great Canadian artist and creator. Another great Canadian is Fiona Staples. And she's most well known for Saga. She's the one that does all the art for Saga. And it's Brian K. Vaughan that did the writing. But Fiona Staples is Canadian. I was surprised about that too. I didn't know that as well. So it's always cool when you do the research for these videos, and you find out, hey, something new that you didn't know before. Fiona Staples, really cool art. I really enjoy Saga as a series. It's quite fun. And that's Saga. That was Saga number 64. I have the complete run. Next. Now this one will be controversial because people probably, Canadians know this, but Americans will be like, oh no, this can't be true. But it is true. This is a very iconic Canadian character, and it is also created by a Canadian. Superman was created by Joe Shuster, and Joe Shuster is Canadian. And we would have like commercials in Canada, like propaganda kind of commercials, I guess, where they would just talk about Canadian history and stuff like that, and they would always have this one about Joe Shuster and him, making this character and going off to live in the U.S. to basically, make his comic creation come to life. So Joe Shuster, very Canadian artist, and he created Superman. So this is Superman #1, the reprint, obviously not the real thing. I was actually looking for this before. I couldn't find it, but I just found it today. So that's a really great artist and Canadian. Okay, so #3 on my list. As I said, I couldn't find my Jeff Lemire, so I had to kind of come up with an extra one. Is, again, Todd McFarlane. I just love this book, regardless of the fact, it's Todd McFarlane art, but it's just Wizard #1. To me, it just has so many memories of going through and seeing those, those early price guides, and the excitement of seeing what's on the hot list, and everyone scrambling to get those books and stuff. It's just, I loved Wizard 1, and Wizard magazine, I should say. But yeah, this is a great Todd McFarlane cover, and it's an iconic book as well. So next on my list is another really great Canadian artist, and I have to have some good girl. I have to have some good girl on any list that I do, and this has a nice good girl art cover. This is Catwoman 46, and it is the Darwyn Cooke variant cover. Darwyn Cooke is another Canadian, And I just thought this was a great cover. I just love it. I think I like the sort of, the cuteness of it, Tweety and the cat, yeah. So just a fun one. Darwyn Cooke, and it's Catwoman 46. Just a fun cover. Okay, last, but he's been on the list so many times now, but I had to include this one because it's probably the most iconic cover that Todd McFarlane has done. And you can tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe that this is Todd McFarlane's most iconic cover. There's one other one that I kind of debate, maybe you could say, but I think this is the one that would be his most iconic cover. This is Amazing Spider-Man 300. And what Todd McFarlane really did for Spider-Man is he really made Spider-Man a lot more dynamic. He did these crazy poses, and the web itself that Todd McFarlane drew for Spider-Man is just way more alive than traditional Spider-Man webbing. It's got like so much, like you look at the detail on the webbing, it's just like it has a life of its own almost. So it's just, I think this is just a really iconic cover. It's been homaged a million times. And it's just a great book. So Todd McFarlane, and that's my list of Canadian artists and Canadian artist covers, basically. And if you want to participate in this challenge, this weekly challenge, all you have to do is find some Canadian artists and use the hashtag Canadian artists. Okay, that's it. And hashtag Friday Comic Challenge in your video title. Also, if you could use at Comic Collector Geek, and that will tag me onto your video. And the reason you do that is actually I'll watch it. I'll go over and watch it because sometimes I find that I won't see the videos, and it really drives me nuts because I won't see some of the videos that people post when they do the challenges. But if you use that at symbol and then my name, Comic Collector Geek, I will get a notification, and it's just really cool. So then I can just click on that notification and see your video, and it's always fun to watch these challenges. So yeah, without any further ado, thank you for watching this video, and bye for now.